Hello, everyone. Welcome and welcome back. It's been a while. I see I've earned the attention of a few more inquisitive minds since last we spoke. For all those new viewers out there, my name is Andrew, and I'm an art historian. I have a BA in art from the University of Kentucky. I focused on historical printmaking methods like woodcuts and woodblock prints, plate etchings, and lithography. I learned a lot about German printer Albrecht Dürer and Japanese woodblock printer Hokusai, all the way back to Sumerian cylinder seals. I took courses in Mesoamerican archaeology and historical Asian ceramics. I really enjoyed learning about ancient history and ancient cultures, going all the way back to when I was a little kid watching, In Search of and, all those great history documentaries on the Romans, and especially Michael Wood's Legacy series and Graham Hancock's Underworld, and even, oh yeah, Charlton Heston's Riddle of the Sphinx. That's one of my favorites. After college, had to get a real job, but I still wanted to be involved in ancient history and mysteries. So that's what my channel is, and I focus on the ancient ruins themselves. I search the internet and hunt down as many photos as I can find. I look for repeating architectural hallmarks and motifs. I look for curiosities and oddities like polygonal stonework and nubs, both of which are a global phenomenon, along with megalithic stone-on-stone constructions. So I am convinced that a global building technology slash ability existed in the ancient past that is no longer around today. Not just that it isn't replicated today, but that it has never been replicated since the ancient times. Not in a faithful way that mirrors the ancient examples truthfully. I personally think that it is too early to tell who this group is. I call them the engineers. A few other people refer to them as the engineers. I think at this stage, we just need to catalog all the sites that we think are attributed to these engineers and compare and contrast their physical features. So that is what I'm trying to do on my channel here. And also, I want to make this space an area to discuss ideas. If other researchers, other channels aren't getting back to you and not answering your questions, we can always make a space here to just discuss our opinions and maybe other people's ideas and put them on the board and see if they stick. Now, I do not advertise or monetize on my channel. I have a day job and I enjoy doing this as a side hobby, a fascination. I may set up a virtual tip jar at some point. Other researchers like Uncharted X Ben, he does this, and I think this is a really nice, tasteful format. It shows appreciation for all the hard work, and it's just there for the viewers to contribute if they wish. It helps these guys get to some of these ancient places, and they bring us back, more footage and inspire us, to make more videos. So that's later on down the road. I'm not planning on monetizing this channel or making any kind of monetary gain out of it. This is just because I enjoy it, and hopefully you guys see it that way too. So first today on the agenda, where have I been? I must first apologize to a lot of other channels, as I've barely had any time for watching videos, let alone making any of my own. I've taken on a second job lately, and it's really cut into my downtime. I'm still in the background, however, though. I'm trying to catch up with all the other guys' videos. If you got short videos, I have time for them, but some of the longer videos, I know I've skipped over them, so I'm still in the process of catching up with everybody. So some channels, I know you guys probably haven't heard from me for months, so I'm working on it, guys. We're getting back up there. So as overtime winds down, it's getting cold outside, and I'm going to shut myself in for the winter. I really hope to catch up with everyone more and get back into uploading videos more frequently. I know I don't really have a set schedule of uploads like other channels. It's just kind of whenever the fancy strikes me and I have the time and something valuable to say to you guys, that's when I'll make a video. So next on the agenda are some thank yous. First, like I said, Uncharted X Ben. He hosted one of my questions on one of his latest live streams. It was about Al-Mamun's breach in the Great Pyramid. Appreciate you, Ben. That was a really good discussion we had in the chat too. I really liked the format. Hope we can do more of those. And then some thank yous to a couple of my fellow researchers, Ancient Alternative View Philip and Uchronia Utopia Dave, for our discussion on Twitter lately. I don't really use Twitter for ancient history or have it set up for that, but we've had to kind of scramble lately because YouTube Messenger has been taken away. So we no longer have YouTube's little messaging system for discussing things back and forth. It was nice having a little private chat system. We can go back and forth on the side, but that's all right. Just like, Google Plus, that was a great service. We had a nice photo hosting system there, but lost a lot of photos when they purged that. I didn't get them all back from the archive. It's okay. I can always get them back again. They're still on the internet. I think Utopia Dave said that there is a new photo sharing software app program. I'm not sure. We're going to have to go over it. I barely saw it yesterday. But I'm very interested in that. I'd like to host all my catalog of photos somewhere where you guys can access them. It takes a long time to get these photos. So if you guys have any you want to contribute as well, it's great to just build a database. And that's kind of what I wanted to do today, actually, was show you guys my database. It's pretty modest at this point, but it has a lot of good photos in it, and it shows you what you can do with real simple means. All you need is a couple photo galleries and some time on the internet, and just start building yourself an archive of different ancient sites, looking at the physical features yourself, and make up your own mind what you see. My channel trailer is, this channel is for people with the eyes to see. All you need to do is look at the physical evidence. You don't need any stories, folklore, myths, ancient tales, or texts. Those things are great for context, I understand, but all you need to look at is the physical evidence. The stones won't lie to us. I say that a lot. So firstly, here are just a few photos that I've snagged from Ancient Alternative View Philip. We go back and forth a lot on different sites, and just we try to focus on some different things that we might have seen at other sites. These things repeat a lot, and these aren't just random happenstances. These are a system of engineering skills and abilities and methods, and it doesn't take an architect or an art historian to see these things. You just make the connections. It's just like an Easter egg hunt. So we have Baalbek, and then we have the Osirion, and then we have other older photos of Baalbek. We try to look for old photos and new photos. These sites change, they're restored, they're destroyed, they weather. Another very nice big photo of Baalbek. We were looking at the capitals, I believe, here. And of course, Egypt, these boxes, I call them the bed frame boxes. If you can find a name for these, I'd love to hear it, because I don't believe they have any historical attribution, context, inventor, any development process of these boxes. These are just fully formed as a motif and a design out in the desert. These squared off ends and arched tops, and a lot of them have nubs and lobes of different sizes, shapes, orientations on them. Some of them lifting aids. I'm totally open to that in some contexts, but other instances they almost are residual, or I even used the phrase vestigial the other day to describe them. Little echoes or imprints of bigger nubs, implications of nubs. It's very hard to describe some of these things, but you guys make up your own mind what you see and what you think some of these things were for, because your guess is actually as good as anybody's at this point. There actually is not a consensus on these nubs because there's so many different styles, variations. So I personally think they were an entire system, and each instance of them is a different application and a different function if they are functional. Sometimes they just seem symbolic. Sometimes they seem esoteric. So keep an open mind when you look at some of this stuff. They don't always have one explanation. So next is just artifacts, things that I think are very weird looking, interesting, that I can't fit into any other folder. I have sarcophagi in here. I have weird processing on blocks. I have illustrations of things that don't even exist anymore. The Menkaure sarcophagus is now at the bottom of the ocean. So I'd love for a scuba diver to go retrieve this for me. I'd love to see this. I have other weird boxes. The Gonaim alabaster box. I'm sure some of you have seen this before. If you haven't, go check out CFApp's Chuck, CFApp's 7865 channel. He has a really great video on this box, and there's a lot of boxes in Egypt that have really no attribution, no explanation, really weird designs. There's some and these are in Egypt. There are some in Japan that look just like these, have these same four protruding lobes, and then there's nubs on the ends as well. You can see them barely here. How about sarcophagi like this one? This is Sobek Hotep's, I believe, out in the middle of the desert. This giant boulder, roughly processed exterior with this perfect interior. Looks capital T-shaped to me. Reminds me of Hovenweep. Reminds me of Mesa Verde and Amaru Muru and the Gobekli Tepe stones. Capital T shape is a repeating motif, something to think about. But it's very out of place just sitting here amongst these small mud brick constructions. This is drastically different than the surrounding architecture. Agreed? So then I just have my episode bits. I use screencast-o-matic.com for my videos. You see the watermark, I'm sure, in the corner. It's a free 15-minute at a time video recording software. Just records whatever's on your screen. It's really handy. Chuck uses it over at CFApp 7865, and a few other channels use it as well. You just need a free editor if you want to do more than 15 minutes. You just do 15-minute chunks and then splice them together in your little editor on your computer, and away you go. Finished episodes are my obvious finished episodes. Google Plus archives and photos. These are the photos that I got back from Google Plus when they shut down, and I have yet to put a lot of these in their right folders. Some of them I have copies of. I've already gone back and recollected a lot of these photos, but you can see a lot of this stuff, the metadata. These should have been photos, and I don't seem to be able to get them to show up as photos, so I'm not sure if I'm able to retrieve any of this stuff, but every folder is pretty much like that. A few photos, but not all of them. So kind of sad. All right, and then the main folder I want to show you guys, sites. Now, you don't think this is very many sites, and I agree. I need like twice as many folders here. This was, putting it back together after I lost a lot. But even with just these sites that you see in front of you, I think we should be able to make some pretty good connections around the world for this group of engineers and their abilities or their technology. I'm really open to their methods at this point, as well as their origins. I don't like to use any loaded terms when I can help it. I know some of them you have to give them a name, so otherworldly or pre-Diluvian origins, I'm okay with both of those at this point. But yeah, just find a site that you really like, that you think is really interesting, and go on the internet, get on Google, get on Pinterest. On Google, search by largest photos, because you're going to be needing to look for the details. The details are, the devil's in the details, obviously. So find as many photos from as many angles, as many time periods as you can, and just compare them and make up your own mind what you see. Do these things look similar in places far away from each other? How about nubs in India? Have you ever seen walls with nubs in India before? The Warangal region has lots of this stuff, and very impressive Greek level, Greco-Roman level columns and capitals and carvings, but very unique in style, and the motifs on them very unique to that region. Some photos I get and I don't have the locations for them. I just catch them. Pinterest is really bad for this. They will give you the wrong location in the description of where these sites are, so be careful for that. Google's a little bit better than Pinterest, but still there's always the possibility that it could be a vacationer, a tourist, putting up these photos and they mislabeled them. That happens a lot, and other people sharing the photos can mislabel them. So always try to do your homework and find other, corresponding and confirming angles and other photo sources. So right, this photo, I don't know where this is. I'm assuming it's somewhere in the old world, obviously, maybe Greek area, maybe Mediterranean. But very interesting conglomeration. This has been recycled, obviously, and upcycled. They have column segments in the foundation, and Look, these were the lintels that went above, and they're heavily weathered. Looks like they used to have the triglyph motif. It's a Greek and Roman header design. You'll see the bars, and these are either really weathered or they've been knocked off, chipped off, destroyed deliberately, or maybe they were never completely carved out or formed. That's some other possibility. But they look kind of like my lipped blocks, where I have a video on it. It's blocks that have a oozing cusp of material on the edge. It's very strange how they do this. Is it a carving technique, or is it a molding technique, or is it a mixture of the two? Your guess is as good as mine. Some other blocks in this thing. This one I noticed had 2 nubs on it. It's very interesting. I think that should be maybe a foundation stone lower down, but they recycled it up here. Just lots of interesting blocks in this of varying sizes, and the course arrangement, of course, is really wacky. But that should give you guys a good look into, the workings of my channel and how I go about looking for photos and doing my little research projects. It's really all just what my eyes tell me and how I interpret and describe that to you guys, and how I adjust my opinions through our dialogue. These opinions I have aren't set in stone. I have some compelling arguments, I think, but a lot of other people do as well, and I consider and appreciate all of them. It takes a lot of weighing of possibilities and potentials to come to a consensus on any of this stuff. So it's easy to get emotional and worked up over some of this stuff, but I think, like I said, as long as we stick to the physical evidence and what the ruins are telling us, then we are going to have the most faithful and accurate understanding of what our ancient past is, because after all these ancient stories, tales, and texts are written about these places and the people who lived amongst them. So I think we need to take into account what is actually there at the sites. Now, before I forget, I'd like to mention Charles Koss's channel. He has me really fired up lately with a couple of his new videos. I know I've been away from you too, Charles, for a long time, but thank you to Philip for alerting me to these couple of videos, The Strangest Building in Rome, and Piranesi's opinion on Roman knobs and what lies under ancient Rome. This is a book that Charles was sent. I believe it's a PDF of the original book, and it shows somehow Piranesi knew, when he drew these illustrations, the foundations of all these impressive structures and very strange looking structures that don't even exist anymore. He knew down to the very bottom how these buildings were constructed. And when you see the illustrations, you're probably going to say, hey, that looks familiar, because a lot of the motifs and designs are things that we look at on my channel. So go check out his videos and comment with him. He's a great researcher, and he will comment back with you. So that's pretty much all for today, guys. Just wanted to give you an update on where I was and what I've been doing. Thanks for 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Aha, and it looks like I just got the community tab. So this means I can leave images and polls and videos and just posts on the feed, so I can comment with you guys directly, and we can have side chats in the open, I guess. So just a nice extra feature that I just received for getting over 1,000 subscribers. So again, thank you guys very much for that, and hopefully we can keep going and keep growing. So thank you all for hanging out with me today, and we will talk to you next time.